Dylan Wang finally reveals the real reason he fell for Shen Yue. It was a story that fans had speculated about for years. The chemistry between Dylan Wang and Shen Yue was undeniable from the moment they appeared on screen together. From their iconic roles in Meteor Garden to their countless off-screen interactions, the connection between them felt too real to ignore. But was there ever something more? Did Dylan Wang truly harbor feelings for Shen Yue beyond what the cameras captured? For the longest time, the answer remained a mystery. Both stars kept their personal lives private, only giving fans occasional glimpses into their friendship. But then, after years of silence, Dylan Wang finally broke his silence. In an unexpected moment of honesty, he revealed the real reason he fell for Shen Yue, and his confession sent shockwaves through the fandom. It wasn't just about their on-screen moments. It wasn't just about their undeniable chemistry. There was something deeper, something more personal that made Dylan see Shen Yue in a way that no one else did. And when he finally shared the truth, it became clear that their bond was far more complicated than anyone had imagined. Dylan Wang had always been known for his playful personality, his boldness, and his confidence. From his early days as an actor, he had an aura of someone who never hesitated to say what was on his mind. But when it came to Shen Yue, things were different. There was always a certain hesitation, a carefulness in the way he spoke about her, as if there were things left unsaid. Their journey together started with Meteor Garden, a drama that skyrocketed both of them to fame. Shen Yue played the strong-willed and kind-hearted Dong Shankai, while Dylan embodied the arrogant but deeply loving Dao Mingxi. Their characters clashed, fought, and eventually fell deeply in love, creating one of the most beloved love stories in modern drama history. But what truly made their performances special was the undeniable spark between them. It didn't feel like acting, it felt real. Fans quickly picked up on it. The way Dylan looked at Shen Yue, the way they laughed together off-screen, the small moments of tenderness that seemed too natural to be scripted. It all pointed to something beyond just co-stars. But despite endless rumors, neither of them ever confirmed anything more than friendship. However, in a rare moment of openness, Dylan finally decided to share the truth. In an interview that no one saw coming, he spoke about Shen Yue in a way he never had before. He admitted that, at first, he never expected to feel anything beyond professional admiration for her. She was talented, hardworking, and full of energy. But Dylan had convinced himself that their relationship was strictly work-related. However, the more time he spent with her, the harder it became to ignore what he was feeling. What truly made Dylan fall for Shen Yue wasn't just her talent or her personality. It was the way she made him feel. According to Dylan, Shen Yue had a rare ability to make people feel comfortable, to create a sense of warmth around her that was impossible to resist. No matter how stressful their schedules were, no matter how exhausting their workdays became, being around her always made everything feel lighter. He recalled a moment during filming when he had been struggling with personal doubts. It was a time when the pressure of fame had started to weigh on him, when he questioned whether he was truly good enough for the industry. He had been hiding it well, or so he thought, but Shen Yue saw right through him. Without saying much, she simply sat beside him, cracked a joke, and for a moment, all his worries disappeared. That was when he realized she wasn't just a co-star. She wasn't just a friend. She was someone who understood him in a way no one else did. Dylan described Shen Yue as someone who never pretended to be anything other than herself. In an industry filled with people constantly trying to impress, she was refreshingly real. She laughed loudly, made silly faces, and never took herself too seriously. And yet, beneath that carefree exterior, she had one of the most compassionate hearts he had ever known. One of the things that stood out to Dylan the most was Shen Yue's ability to see past the surface. Many people admired Dylan for his looks, his talent, or his rising fame. But Shen Yue? She saw the little things. She noticed when he was tired, when he was overwhelmed, when he needed someone to remind him that he was more than just an actor. There were moments, Dylan admitted, when he wondered if things could have been different between them. If the circumstances had been right, if their careers hadn't been moving at such a fast pace, if they had allowed themselves to explore what was clearly there. Could they have been more than just friends? But timing, as always, was unpredictable. Their lives took them in different directions, forcing them to prioritize their careers over their personal feelings. Dylan didn't confirm whether anything romantic had ever happened between them, but he didn't deny it either. Instead, he left it open-ended. hinting that some stories are too precious to be fully shared. What mattered most, he said, was that Shen Yue had changed him in ways he never expected. She taught him the value of being genuine, of embracing who he was without trying to meet unrealistic expectations. She showed him that vulnerability wasn't a weakness, but a strength. Even now, years after Meteor Garden, Dylan admitted that Shen Yue still held a special place in his heart. Their friendship remained strong, built on years of trust, shared experiences, and an unspoken understanding that not everything needed to be said out loud. For fans who had always hoped for a fairy tale ending between them, Dylan's words were both heartbreaking and beautiful. It wasn't the typical love story with a clear beginning and end. It was something more complicated, more real. Two people who deeply cared for each other, who had impacted each other's lives in ways no one else could, but who ultimately had to follow their own paths. In the end, Dylan Wang's revelation wasn't just about romance. It was about appreciation, about the rare connection between two people who truly understood each other. It was about the kind of bond that doesn't need a label to be meaningful. And as he finished his confession, one thing became clear. Whether or not Dylan Wang and Shen Yue ever became something more, their story would always be one worth telling. Even after Dylan Wang's heartfelt revelation, the world couldn't stop wondering. What if? What if things had played out differently? What if they had acted on their emotions instead of suppressing them for the sake of their careers? What if the bond that was so evident to everyone had been given a real chance? But as Dylan himself had said, some stories are too precious to be fully shared. That didn't mean, however, that the connection between him and Shen Yue had faded. If anything, his words only confirmed what many had suspected all along. She was, and always would be, someone special to him. In the days following his confession, fans dissected every word, searching for hidden meanings, looking back at past interviews and behind-the-scenes moments with a new perspective. Suddenly, the way Dylan had looked at Shen Yue in old clips seemed even more significant. The way he had defended her against criticism, the way he had always made sure she was comfortable on set, the way he had subtly yet protectively stayed close to her during public events. It all pointed to something deeper than just friendship. But what about Shen Yue? How did she feel about all of this? Though she hadn't immediately responded to Dylan's confession, fans couldn't help but wonder what she thought of his words. After all, if she had been so important to him, did she feel the same way? Had she, too, wondered about the possibilities they never explored? It wasn't long before Shen Yue was asked about it during an interview. The reporter, clearly aware of the buzz surrounding Dylan's words, approached the subject carefully. "Dylan Wang recently spoke about you in a very heartfelt way," they said. "He mentioned how much you've influenced him and how special your bond is. What do you think about that?" Shen Yue smiled,